Peace and love from Kevin. Family matters. We did well. We're in the same kind of time area and same day, so we've
Wow.
that's a win, But
Yeah.
anyway, Family Matters, sponsored as always by the one and only Jaywalker Lodge. Kevin calls it home.
Uh-huh. Home away from home.
Yeah, whatever. You got plenty of homes. Man, your stature probably has four homes.
Keep telling yourself
I will.
that.
I'll tell everybody. Like
Yeah.
Kevin Peterson, man. Anyway, we do this to the best of our ability. We answer answer anxiety, fears, whatever. I'm just out of it. I was spent last night at a concert, so we'll just get right into it. But we do this for the loved ones. This is a family disease, no question about it. If you're in the midst of it, no truer words. This isn't just you send your loved one to treatment and everything goes back to normal, which a lot of people want to believe is true. But
Yeah.
we do it for the family. We're going to continue doing it for the family. Kevin, how are you?
I'm good. It's Friday afternoon. I'm a little wiped. I'm just trying to kick it, enjoy my day. Got through on most of my stuff. You're my second to last event of the day.
Wow.
You are the highlight, of course.
Yeah.
And
It's my therapy session.
uh, I'm good. I'm going to be in Colorado next week, so we won't do next week. I'm running a family weekend with a whole bunch of cool people, and it'll be a lot of fun. And the difference between Colorado and Jacksonville Beach, Florida, is that here it's the same temperature, but we have humidity. They don't. It's the same temperature though. Mm.
So let me ask you, is there a Jacksonville and a Jacksonville Beach? Are there two different?
Funny you should ask.
I
So the city of Jacksonville Beach resides in Duval County. Duval County is Jacksonville City.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was just literally just watching a video on it that it's because it's the only place in the state that's like this, where the county and the city are sort of linked like this. Like we vote for the Jacksonville mayor and the Jacksonville Beach mayor, and
Really?
and so it's it's really interesting. And So Jacksonville is the largest landmass city in the country. It's over 840 square miles. And what they did in the 60s when everyone started moving to the suburbs and the beach, is that instead of just allowing all these other cities to create themselves, they just annexed everything and just made it all Jacksonville. So we have 1 million people that live here, and we're the 10th most populous city. But population's not dense here at all. But it's a great place to live. The beach is awesome. It's really cool. And so, they are the funny thing. Yes, they are two separate entities, yet they are the same. If that doesn't confuse you enough, I don't know how else to tell you, but.
The only thing I can tell you is I just know that you're by TPC Sawgrass. That's what I measure.
And that's a different county.
I know, but it's close enough.
Yeah, different city, different county, but yeah.
I just know that if I was ever going to play TPC Sawgrass again, I would call you and see if your couch was available. So you're close enough. That's how I rank it.
We do better than a couch for you, Jay.
Jeez.
We got a Barca lounger.
Yeah, I'm sure. I don't want your dog to be upset, but anyway.
Oh no, they're in the bed. Trust me.
So let's get right into it. And it's interesting enough that there's some themes every week, but one of the themes is I think people hear you say homework. Give families homework, and families, I don't know if they're excited, I don't know if they're fearful, but why don't you expand on the premise and kind of the why you do, why is it because you do give homework. It's not a
Oh yeah. Oh
it's
yeah.
not it's not an overstatement. So what is it that this homework kind of entails, and what's the purpose behind it?
So that's a great question. By the way, quick, I have to tell you, a therapist friend of mine said, "Hey, you got to get these cards. They're called disappointing affirmations." So this one says, "Stop overthinking. You're the only one who cares." All right.
That is not true. Other people care about it.
So here's the thing. When I started the Chronic Hope and I wrote my books and got in private practice in 2014, and actually all through graduate school and in my first job working in the community mental health arena, what I noticed is the current concept of how to get somebody healthier, mental health, addiction, whatever, is to remove them from the environment, take them over here for X amount of time, and then bring them back to the environment, and then wonder why they fail. And what I started to realize is that they were failing because the environment had not changed. They may have changed, but they were still going back into the same space. And as I'm blaming the family or anything along those lines, not at all. But what I figured out, or what we figured out in general, is what the most effective thing we can do is, while this person is getting the help that they need to get, we're also doing the same sort of engagement with the family. And I wrote my first book in 2017, Parenting the Addicted Child. Second book, Families and Addictions, in 2020. Created Chronic Hope Institute. Really went down the path of, I want to help the families. Because what I noticed is when the families adopted a new way of life and a new way of engaging with the individual actually stood a better chance of staying sober. And that seems backwards, right? It seems really backwards. But I know for me, and I think for you, that was the experience. When my parents said, "We love you, but you're out. And until you change, you're not coming back here. And we'll help you. What do you need? Therapy? Treatment? We got you. But until that happens, you're not going to be part of this family anymore." And that was a change for them. Normally they just, we're like, "Oh, well, here we go again. Stupid Kevin," So I devised, when I started Jaywalker 2 years ago, I devised a 6-chapter homework group. And it's sort of paralleling what the guys are learning in treatment. So the first section, and it's like a collection of books, podcasts, YouTube videos. All the books are on Audible. So the first one's called Understanding Addiction, because that tends to be the first question for these families. And they're like, "Oh, I did not know any of that." I mean, I make them read my book. I make them read Dopamine Nation. I make them watch videos from Dr. Lemke, videos from Dr. Labor, a whole bunch of really cool stuff, Dr. Huberman, explaining the brain science of addiction. It's not just, XYZ because he's lazy. There's an actual thing going on. And then the second section is called Understanding Recovery. And in Understanding Recovery, I'm trying to show them that the methodology that we believe in, this 12-step methodology, is the most effective. And here's the data and the statistics. Third section is Understanding Codependency. Generally, that's where they're like, "Yeah, I'm not doing that." Yeah. But then when they finally get into it, they're like, "Oh shit, you got me." I'm like, "It's okay. And we'll talk about where it comes from and why, And the fourth one's Understanding Trauma. The fifth one's Understanding Family Systems. Sixth one is Understanding Mental Health. My goal is to teach the family what the guys are learning, so that when they reconnect, they're reconnecting on a different level. And they're matching the guy, and then they're actually coming when the guy, because you know how guys are in treatment. They think they're going to come back and kind of put things back the way they want them. And when the families are like, oh, yeah, no, we're not doing that because we've been doing Kevin's homework, and yeah, that crap's over with. That's changing the family system. And it makes the guy realize he has to step up to the plate. That's the quickie version. It wasn't quick, but that's really what it comes down to. And, if nothing changes, nothing changes, right?
Well, here's two questions. One, I was going to ask you nonetheless, but there's another one that kind of, every time you have this way that when you do start explaining things, I start getting these questions. So let's just go with the one that I was, we were going to talk about nonetheless. And here's a common fill in the blank. I don't want to label it either, but I get a lot of families that are saying this, whether they're loved ones in treatment or transitioning or, whatever it may be, got some little time under their belt. It's the continuation. It looks different. It's different eggshells, but they're still walking around eggshells. They're always like, Jay, we're uncertain what to say because we don't want to say something where they automatically go back to drinking. And it's tough to say like, hey, you have no control over that. But I'm sure you get it. And what's your kind of foundation behind kind of explaining that?
Well, one of the first, kind of like what you just said is, hey, you can't control it. Number one. Number two, you don't have that kind of power. And they're like, what do you mean? I'm like, you're assuming that your words or actions are going to make him do something. And now we're back to the old system where he gets to blame you for his behavior and actions, and you take on the responsibility. That statement comes from a long time of codependent behavior of, oh my God, what did I do to make this happen? And you didn't do anything. I mean, you really didn't. The addict or the alcoholic, right, is dealing with their crap, and it's their responsibility to find a solution and get the solution and go for the solution and change the way they live. And, I'm sure I could pinpoint times in my life, in my drinking life, where I could say, well, yeah, you did this, so I got pissed and I went and got wasted. But, I could have just as easily gone to the gym, or, did a meditation or go for a run. But no, I mean, that was, oh yeah, I'll show you, and go to Chili's. Yeah. and so that's kind of the thing that we have to understand, is that we don't have that kind of impact on the addict or the alcoholic. The addict or and again, I was repeating myself, but this is why the system has to change, because the system you came from is where you took responsibility for their behavior and their actions. And that's what's got to change. Because when you stop doing that, it's going to force him to look at his stuff. But if we go back to that old pattern, he keeps throwing things in your lap, and you're like, oh my God, this is my responsibility. And he's like, that's right. I'm off the hook. It's not my fault. Which is crap. Total crap. Yeah.
The number one relapse thought is F it. How often I said F it, like whatever it may be. And I love blaming anyone other than myself, but it's the F-its. Like when you get the F-its, when someone's there, you get someone in the F-it phase in early recovery, it's hard to come back from it.
Yeah. Well, and on that note too, you and I both know that when someone's going down that road, the relapse started long before that. They were laying out the path, They were blown off meetings. They were blown off their sober circle. They were blown off the sponsor, weren't going to therapy, and, all of a sudden it's like, why am I doing this? Now, let's tie this back to the previous stuff. When that happens, because it will inevitably happen on some level, the family system has to stand back and say, we love you, but we're not going to go with that. And the answer is no. No. There's no vacation from AA. There's no vacation from sponsorship. There's no vacation from therapy. You got to dig in. But that's, again, the family changing the system. Because, you and I both know, every single guy starts convincing their family, I don't need this.
Mm-hmm.
I got a job. It's so important. The wife and the kids need me. You don't understand. It's really okay. Or
We'll
my
save
favorite
so
one.
much money. We don't need to spend all. Yeah.
Yeah. Or, hey, I talked to a couple of my sponsor and a couple of my buddies, and they said it's perfectly okay. I'm like, yeah, who's your sponsor? Let me talk to him. That's Hui. And again, if the family system is firm and doesn't change or doesn't allow that to happen, and you change your stance, that's going to be the biggest impact, where they're like, oh, okay, never mind. Brick wall.
Now, through your homework kind of explanation, it got like my brain lit up. People probably can see it. There's not a lot of there's a lot of empty space up here, so when it lights up, it kind of glows. But here's what you got me thinking is it's almost as if the family needs to change before the addicted loved one, really. Would you say?
Well, yes, and I mean, it depends on the family. I mean, yeah, I think that's the best chance, right? Because what do we deal with? We deal with interventions. What is an intervention? The family changing their stance,
And then, I'll finish to make things easier, because that's a pretty kind of meaty statement. So there's where my brain is. It lit up when it was like, yes, I deal in the world of interventions. I deal in the world of chaos, where families reach out to me, and a lot of us, where there's chaos, there's emergency, and we need to get our loved one into treatment. And, so an intervention, and enter some sort of professional. And so when my brain started lighting up is, I wonder, I don't think there's any research, but I want to pose it to you, is if you have the intervention and in reality, the family's changing at that particular, even before the intervention, there's a family meeting, there's, boundaries, and then you have, which we always see is, sometimes people are just like, I just need out. Maybe drug dealers after them or something. They call mom and dad and say, hey, I want to go to treatment. And they just willingly go into treatment. I wonder if that stunts the family's growth, because in essence, it's the addicted loved one that's reaching out and in treatment, and how often the family's like, oh, Johnny, he wants help. He went in and checked himself in, and the family's kind of gets like, well, isn't open to the fact that the family needs to change because Johnny willingly went in. Does that make sense?
No, I totally get it. I mean, but I would actually tell you, there are times when I've seen the individual be the one that says, hey, I need help. And we get those at Jaywalker occasionally. I mean, actually not occasionally. We get, generally it's because they ran out of money, or, they got kicked out of their place, or, they got nowhere else to go. It's like, oh, I think I need to go to treatment. Okay, cool. We're going to send you to a place that goes for a year. But what will happen inevitably is, if the family doesn't adopt the homework and the transformation and the way of the new system, we're just killing time until they're done, and then they go back to the same system. If the family gets armed with ability of knowledge and understanding of how to respond to what's going further, I mean, most of the families I work with, and I'm sure you do too, would say, this is it. I'm done. No mas. You've hit us for. I had one family recently that had spent over $2 million on their kid, and I was like, good God, and they have the family, just like the alcoholic and the addict has to get to a point of, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired and I don't want to do this anymore. So does the family. They got to get sick and tired of being sick and tired and not wanting to do this anymore. But then they have to, like this guy goes to treatment, learns a new way of life. Generally what they do is just stand back and be like, oh, good. Tell us more, And it's like, no, 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 you're going to do the same thing. It's because we got to balance the equation. And that's when true success occurs. Now, there's a lot of resistance on the addict side, right? Because they think I'll get sober and then I'll come back and it's open arms and open checkbooks and everything will be cool. And the family's like, yeah, no, that's not happening. We're doing things differently. And then it's like, who the hell, where, you got to stop listening to that Kevin guy. He's an idiot. He doesn't even know me. And I'm like, oh, buddy, I know you. I know you backwards and forwards, Chief. You know, I saw you coming in my sleep, you know, and that's the thing, is that when they can adopt that attitude, it's actually helping the guy. He just doesn't see it that way. And so he creates resistance, and that's where the family gets anxious because he says he's going to go live on the streets. I'm like, okay, cool, let him. Carbondale's a great place. He'll be fine. Yeah. So.
Well, an indirect plug for Jaywalker Lodge is you guys go above and beyond what's asked or what's expected. And I mean, I would actually say you do what pretty much should be expected within treatment, and that's, you know, intensive work with the family. But I'm here to tell you that 95% of the facilities are out there that are not necessarily outside of maybe a Zoom meeting or whatever it may be. So I think it's important to kind of empower families if their loved ones currently in treatment or whatever the circumstance is, that get a real good, clear, concise picture of things need to change. And not just Johnny going to treatment. And there's Al-Anon and there's all kinds of, you know, fellowship meetings. You know, if we're going to ask Johnny to go to fellowship meetings, like, let's get the family involved. And there's so many opportunities out there. There's so many books. There's so many, hell, you know, Dr. ChatGPT and stuff like that. But I think the foundation for families I would love to impart on anyone is they're going to need to do their own work. No matter if Johnny went in willingly or kicking and screaming, or if you need to do an intervention or something. If you did an intervention, more often than not, the professional is going to let you know, like, you need to start, the family needs to change. So I think families, it's almost an eye-opening experience when I know the families I deal with, and that's coming on their intervention more often than not, is they're like, whoa, we didn't know we needed any of this. We didn't know that that's an overriding theme or the roles. And, you know, it's like I love telling mom and dads out there is, you know, my goal is for you to go back to being mom and dad and not all the other roles. You don't need to be case manager. You don't need to be police officer, detective, you know, caretaker, rescuer. You just need to go back to being mom and dad. And people, when I say that to them, they're like, huh, I forgot what being mom and dad even felt like sometimes with this one. And that's the problem, I think.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And allowing the addict and the alcoholic to determine, you know, and what I was just popped into my head when you were talking, I was like, oh, you know what this is like? This is like every morning when we wake up, and I mean, I watch the local news and, you know, Sports Center or whatever. And, but I check the weather, right? I got to check the weather to see what kind of day it is, to see what I have to prepare for. Of course, where I live, it really doesn't matter. It's, you know, but that's what the families are doing. Every day they're waking up and they're like, got to check the weather. Got to see what his temperature is. Got to see what's coming. And my whole point to them is, yeah, you don't have to do that. You know, you can just be like, oh, cool, that's great. You know, and you know, whatever's going on with him is going on with him, and he'll be fine. He's in the hands of some good people. They know what they're doing. You do not have to constantly check the weather to see how it's going on and how he feels. And you can just go about your day. And if it rains, get an umbrella. You know, I mean, that's just all there is to it. It's not constantly trying to anticipate what crisis is next. It's about saying, oh, well, that's your crisis, not mine. And I love you, and I have great confidence that you'll be able to figure that out.
And I mean, I also point out, use the treatment team. You got professionals. Like if you get into an interesting, let's just call it interesting conversation on the phone, you can say like, "Wow, that's a really good question. Why don't you bring that up to your therapist? Why don't you bring that up in group? If you have a sponsor, I tell mom and dad, don't get in these arguments. Don't make decisions. You can easily put it right back and trust the team. That's what they're there for. Like they're not
Hmm.
there just to house. Like I tell them, trust the team, and you don't really need to do many things. You don't need to make decisions really, unless just say, hey, we're over our head in this. We're going to trust the professionals, and whatever the professionals say, we're going to be fully on board with. And then you can obviously have conversations with the treatment staff. I hope you're having conversations with the treatment staff, but you don't need to be the end all be all, make these decisions and get in uncomfortable conversations. Just put it right back. Well, have you been talking
Yeah.
to? That sounds terrible. Your pillow is rock hard. Why don't you bring that up to a staff member? Have you brought it
Yeah.
up? Oh, I haven't. What are they going to do? It's like, oh, okay. You can just put it right back on the treatment team. You don't need to make
And
these calls.
no, and that's the codependent triangle, right? That's like we talked about. 95% of people programs do it this way: client, therapist, family. So the family's checking in with the therapist to see how the client's doing. The client is sending messages through the therapist, and I shut that down. I shut it down. The client and family need to learn how to talk to each other, and we're going to help teach you that. That's no problem. But I mean, a lot of times I'll get emails from the therapists and saying, "Hey, this guy wants you to let his family know." I'm like, "Stop." Just, I don't even need to hear the rest, bro. This guy needs to pick up the phone. And if he doesn't want to talk to his family, I respect that, but he has to tell them that, not expect us. Because that's what's been going on in the past, right? They constantly have a buffer or somebody they can hide behind. And then the family, it works for the family too, because now they have a drone on top of them that they can get all the check the weather, check the weather, check the weather, get all the scoop. And that's over with, and so we're going to put the family in withdrawal also. and the guys in withdrawal. And so that's how we get healthy. That's how we get healthy, is by changing the pattern. And it's hard. It's hard for both sides. It's really hard for both sides, but it's the only thing that works.
Yeah. Well, you got that individual that's trying. I did it, punishing my
Yeah.
mom and dad by not calling from treatment, and I get mom and dad like he hasn't even called for 2 weeks. My response is always good. Don't worry about
Go
it.
on
Like
vacation.
he's
Yeah.
safe. And that almost puts mom and dad into, mainly mom, let's be honest, into this hyper, like, is he all right? And I'm
Hmm.
like, hey, mom, dad, let's find those roles. Go take a vacation. When's the last time you two kind of just had a night out and didn't worry about Johnny? Like, my response is always, good. You don't need to be talking, because if he was calling, what would he be saying? I need this. I want that. This place sucks. Like
It's all
it.
your fault.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's my response is simple. Good. Like you don't need to be talking. If he's in treatment and inpatient, they've got him covered. If he wants to punish you, good. That's called a vacation in my book. It should be. So
And you should go on vacation. I mean, I have families that are like, I always feel guilty when I say this, but I only feel safe when he's in treatment or jail. I'm like, why are you guilty? I mean, those are probably the two safest things for him. So, put him in there, let him get his act together. But when he starts to try to kick and scream and get out, you got to say no, you know,
yeah,
and allow him to, work through his stuff.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
yeah.
I had a mom and dad that says I think we're going to cancel our Europe trip. The son's like day 5 of a minimum 45-day stay, and they were going to do for a week and a half. And I was like, why are you going to cancel it? And they were like, well, what happens if he decides to leave treatment? What happens if something goes wrong? And I'm just like, he's in treatment on day 5. He's got another 40 days. You guys can go enjoy yours for 11 days. He's good. Don't even take your phone if you don't want to. So
Yep.
Oh, it is a family disease, and families. I mean, it's tough being mom and dad. I mean, I can only imagine. So
Oh,
uh, we'll keep
I
showing
feel
up.
sorry. Yeah, yeah. I mean, our parents. I feel so bad for our parents. The crap we put them through. So unfair. But
Well, I mean, I'm an amazing kid. So I mean, it all equals out. So I mean, they get to say, "Look, that's my son." So to me, that's just kind of a, you know. But anyway, I'm
all
kidding,
right.
mom. Like I'm sure my
Uh-huh.
mom's watching this. So
Mom and Dad, you got my number. Give me a call. I'll tell you.
so well, we're gonna take next week off because Kevin's got to tend to his Jaywalker family. But
Uh-huh.
we'll be back in 2 weeks,
2
probably
weeks.
two
Hmm.
weeks, and then. But keep those questions coming. If you're watching replay, you can always put it in the comments below, or you can send either one of us. I think they call it a DM, direct message, but
Ooh.
email, whatever it
Yeah.
may be. So,
All right.
Kevin, you can take the rest of the day off.
Thank you,
You
Jay.
did good.
I'm planning on it. You know what? I'm going to.
Go bug the
Later.
Jacksonville Beach mayor. All right.
Oh, yeah. She's